Howdy folks, Doc here with Last Best Tool, and today I want to go over the Berkey water purification system, or the water filters. And these are one of the more popular gravity-fed water purification or water filtering tools on the market. They're not the cheapest by any stretch, but they are one of the fanciest looking, so a lot of people don't mind having such a thing sit in their house. They are not terribly portable. They do make one a little bit smaller than this. This is a 2 1/4 gallon one. They make one a little bit smaller that's 1 1/2 gallon. They make them all the way up to 6 gallons. But I'd consider this more of a kind of an industrial, hardcore use water filter system rather than, say, a camping one or a life straw, which I've done another video on. But I wanted to go over the parts and the benefits. And basically what this thing is 2 stainless steel containers, and it comes in a box like this where you've got all the pieces lined up. And what you end up with, if you want to store it, is 2 of these kind of cylinders, big cans. And yes, people have made their own, because it's, you know, even out of Home Depot buckets and their own filter media. But basically it's 2 pieces, then it fits in. This fits on top of the bottom. I'll go over that. Comes with filters, comes with a faucet or a spigot, and a few other things I'll go over. I'll get this out of the way here. So let's take a look at the filter system here. So you've got a lid. You've got a top section. This is the reservoir, and inside the reservoir it has either 2 or more filters. And these filters, these are what are known as the black Berkey filters. They're actually a carbon-based filter that screws in. Each one of these they rate at about 3,000 gallons, so 6,000 gallons of water, but it all depends, of course, on how contaminated or dirty the water is. They go through to the bottom. These are the plugs for the other 2 holes, and these are the actual filters sticking through. You can see there's little black ones. So these are the filters. These are plugs. I can put up to 4 filters in one of these if I wanted. It will improve the rate, longevity, etc. About double the cost too. And then, so this is the top, or the reservoir, and then gravity pulls the water through. So it's not fast, but it's relentless. And then this is the lower section, the container, so it can fill up with water, and then it has a spigot. This is the optional metal Berkey spigot that you can get. The one that comes with it is a plastic one, and I opted, I've got a bunch of these, I opted to upgrade on one that's more mobile. This one lives in a camper, just because I don't want to break this while I'm out on the road. And the last thing comes a little piece of rubber at the bottom, I guess, to kind of keep that thing from sliding around. So anyway, once you've assembled this thing, a couple of little things to think about. One, included in the newer Berkeys now is this little metal clip. And this clip does nothing but allow air to seep through, because you can get a seal here. And that means that this then is essentially pressurized, which then reduces the ability for the water to be pulled down through the filtration system into the lower chamber. So Berkey sends this little tiny clip. All you do is snap it on right on the edge there. And then it forms just a microscopic gap. You can see these still slide even. And this gap allows air to get through. So it's good to have. Solved a problem that I've run into in the past. Anyway, this one here is a big Berkey. This is a 2 1/4 gallon one. It's the most popular of the Berkeys. It's a decent size, and it actually does plenty of water for 2-3 people without any trouble, as long as you keep filling it. Because it's gravity fed, it takes time. So if it takes time and you need water right away, you know, you're out of luck. You can't force it through these things. But it's great to just kind of keep adding water to this, like keep a bucket of water and then just add a little bit more. You don't want to keep this full because it can only hold so much water here, and it'll actually spill out if you're not careful. Generally, it's not too big a deal, but be aware of that. This is for priming the filters because you need to force water through these. And by the way, the filter, this whole thing's only as good as the filters, so I recommend having plenty of these filters on hand if you are considering the potential for the need to have filtered water, which should be everybody right now, especially with the drought, with the changes in weather. Things like that do cause a change in the way we can treat water and manage water. So you may be getting it from questionable sources. You might end up having it coming from wells that are not being tested as often. It all depends on what's going on. And there was just a recent study about schools basically having lead in their water, which, well, unless you know, that's probably coming from the old pipes in the school, but there's lots of old pipes all over the place. Anyway, what you do to prepare one of these is you simply put this spigot, or on a spigot like a faucet or a hose or something like that, and force water through this till it's just oozing out of it. And what that does is it primes the filter. It allows probably the capillary action to allow the water to come into the filter. If you don't do that, this tends to stay fairly dry, and then you don't, with the water not pushed through it, you don't get the filtration action. These filters cost about $100 to $150 a pair, so they are kind of pricey. But if you need water, you need water. So don't skimp on things. And so you can buy the filters in pairs. They also make other kinds of filters that are like fluoride reducing filters, if you are concerned about such a thing. Anyway, the Berkey filter is phenomenal. They start at a couple $100 and go on up to about $500. Then there is one plastic one. It's a little bit less expensive that they're working on kind of marketing a little more heavily. Maybe they'll come out with some others. You can sometimes get scratch and dent ones, although with COVID, these things are sometimes even hard to get pristine from the factory. But definitely something that you should consider, simply because water is the foundation of pretty much everything, including life on Earth, and clean water is essential. And because of the decisions that are being made, as far as water management, you're going to have to probably take on some of your own responsibility to manage and procure water. And this would be a really good time to prepare. And Berkeys are a great start. So with that, Doc out.